Okay. Shabbat shalom, everyone. So
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
see all of you.
Shalom.
And we are in the middle. In the olden days, when we first started this crazy pandemic time, it was kind of new and kind of different. And but now we're kind of in that middle time where this is a different time. We've had some services outside. And next week we will return to the outside service, but we have a bar mitzvah tomorrow. So we wanted to let the bar mitzvah boy be able to have his part. And so
Yes.
we decided to do Zoom. Now, the plan was that we were going to have cameras installed by this time so that we'd be able to do live streaming from the sanctuary. Yeah, that didn't happen on our time. So we will adjust. Next week we'll be outside, but this is probably going to be one of our last Zoom only services. And the next few services will be hybrids where we will be in the actual sanctuary, streaming live from Lombard. But for tonight, we're still in our living rooms. But you heard it first here. So we're just happy you're here. This is the first week in the Hebrew month of Elul. So Rosh Chodesh, we just had this past week, actually yesterday. And so we begin. Every rabbi in the entire world is painfully and acutely aware that Elul, the last month of the Hebrew year, has begun because it's the countdown to the Yontif, to the high holidays. So we are happy that it's Elul, but we're also quaking in our boots because there are sermons to be written and plans to be made to make Yontif, to make Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur special for everyone. And so watch your email and watch your mailboxes because we're actually going to be sending out some programming about what's happening over the high holidays, but it had to go to the printer first. So sit tight. This is Shabbat Shoftim, and Shoftim is all about the necessity to have fair and partial judges, which you'll hear later on. We are joined this evening from Massachusetts by none other than our song leader, Leah Sharon. Leah and I had the privilege of working together for the past couple of years in Azrui at Tiferet. We were Tiferet together. Leah was the Rosh of Tiferet. She was the big kahuna, and it was a pleasure and privilege to work with her. So we're just happy that she's joining us tonight to grace us with her music and basically to give Rabbi Camel and I a night off from having to do music and all the other things. So we're happy you're here, Leah. Welcome. And to that end, we are going to have Leah teach us a song. So Rabbi Camel, if you would be kind enough to share your screen, and Leah, and I'm going to have everyone else mute themselves. Leah will begin.
Awesome. Thank you, Rabbi Kosnowski. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. So this song goes like this. The first part is just O's. So everybody can try it with me. It goes like this. Like this. Hareini mekabel alai et mitzvat haborei. Hareini mekabel alai et mitzvat haborei. And what we're seeing there is I take upon myself the mitzvah or the commandment of our Creator. And what we're about to sing is Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, which you may know means to love your neighbor as yourself. So it's a really nice message to start off Shabbat with. And this part is repeat after me. So I'm going to imagine that you are singing along. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha kamocha. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha kamocha. awesome.
Thank you so much, Leah. And now we're going to invite Ann Stewart to ceremonially light our Shabbat candles and bless them with the blessing. Ann, we're going to have you do the candle blessing.
Yes. Okay. Ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu v'masras v'zenu lehelach ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. And so we continue with the singing of Baruch Hu. We continue ceremonially rising or rising if you are able to do so. And now I'm going to ask us to stop sharing the screen because our bar mitzvah tomorrow is so darn cute. We want to see his little punim. And so I'm going to ask Eli Levin to turn off your non-video and come onto the screen, and let's hear you continue with Mariv Arvin.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteh she'arim uvit vuna meshane itim uma'alif et hazmanim umsader et hakohavim b'mishmonotam barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla goleo lor mipnei choshe v'hoshe mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tziva'ot shmo. El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our day. Never remove your love from us. Praise you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Well done, Eli. That was very wonderful. And we are so grateful that you got to join us tonight. Of course, the one question I had to ask Eli was, you saw he was wearing a tie. The question though is, does he have pajama bottoms for the Zoom? Just saying. Okay, we'll go on. Don't answer that. You can tell. Oh, very good. You'll talk about that at your bar mitzvah tomorrow. We'll go on with Shema, and I ask everyone to please rise in either body or spirit as we continue with Shema.
Shema
Please be.
Everyone may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat b'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat b'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat b'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et Shabbat L'Dorotam Berit Olam Ki Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai Et HaShamayim Ve'et Ha'aretz V'shamru B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat Lasot Et HaShabbat L'Dorotam Berit Olam V'shamru B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat Lasot Et HaShabbat L'Dorotam Berit Olam Vayom Ashvi Shabbat Vayinafash Shabbat Vayinafash V'shamru B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat Lasot Et HaShabbat L'Dorotam Berit Olam.
We come now to our congregational tefillah, our Amidah, as I invite the congregation to please rise for the Amidah, either in body or in spirit. Adonai sefatav tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai sefatav tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחלחל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, למען אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Everyone may be seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We continue now with Yehiyu L'Ratzon, followed by some silent prayer.
Yehiyu L'Ratzon Refi V'Hegyon Libi Lefanecha. Yehiyu L'Ratzon Refi V'Hegyon Libi Lefanecha. Adonai Turi say shalom. Beam Roma, Huya say shalom. Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, Amen. You're welcome to sing the response. Oh, say shalom. Beam Roma, Huya say shalom, Huya say shalom. Aleinu, Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, 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 ve'imeru. Amen.
And so at this time, we stop sharing our screen, and I ask everyone to rise in body or spirit as we take the Torah from our ceremonial ark and we sing Al Shlosha Devarim, and we continue with our Torah service.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut hasadim, Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut hasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed.
Please be seated. Our Torah portion, Shoftim. No mistake that it comes now, beginning of Elul, and we're preparing to think about our souls in contemplation, getting ready for the high holidays. So Shoftim, judges, we're talking about magistrates, it's dealing with the commandments regarding the establishment of a system of leadership in the land of Israel. And so we're going to read that we have to appoint judges, courts, and officers in every city. And it contains, of course, the important teaching, Tzedek, Tzedek Tirdof, justice, justice you shall pursue, which Rabbi Camel will talk about in a little bit. And we're going to learn the proper ways that the leaders are supposed to act, including not to take bribes. Now you might say, oh, come on, why can't you take a bribe, little bribe, just a small, but the Talmud is really specific that if at any point in the judicial system, whether it's before the actual court case happens, during the court case, even after, but still, during and before, it makes you biased. And you don't even realize that you're being biased. But the Talmud, like think about how many thousands of years ago Talmud was written, tells us that you get biased if you take a bribe in any form, on any level. So we always have to follow the laws to raise up the judicial system, to keep it correct so that it protects the people. Then, after describing the nature of prophecy. The Torah repeats the laws of the Ir HaMiklat, the cities of refuge, which were supposed to be established, 6 of them, for accidental murders. And it describes the special judicial cases of conspiring witnesses. So no mistakes that this is all about judges and lawyers and court cases, that we have a lawyer doing the Aliyah tonight. And so it is my pleasure to call up my lawyer, Ya'amod Natan ben Gedalia v'Gittel Rivka Ha'aliyah HaTorah.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha. You shall appoint judges and officials to yourselves, b'chol sha'arecha, from all your tribes, asher Adonai Elohecha, noten lecha, which God has given you, lish votecha, v'shavtu et ha'am mishpat tzedek, and they shall govern with justice in those places. Lo tita mishpat, lo takir panim. You shall not judge unfairly, and you shall not show takir panim. You shall not lend your face. Velo tikach shochad. You shall not take a bribe. Ki shochad ye aver ene chachamim. Because bribes blind the eyes of the wise. V'yisleif divrei tzadikim, and it upsets the divrei tzadikim, the words of the just, or the pleas of the just. Tzedek tzedek tirdof, justice justice you shall pursue. Lima'an tihiyeh, that you may, barishta et haaretz, thrive in your lands. Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach, which Adonai your God is giving to you.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. At this time in our worship service, our thoughts turn to those of our communities and our families who are ill and in need of healing. We think this evening of Norm Block, Jill Avant, Elwood Frederick Bryan, Richard Hoffman, Rick Westerman, Dan Schoenberg, Karen Levinson, Jenna Levinson, Lucy Gleason, Laura Alberton, Scott Burstein, Elaine Stoger, Nisa Scott, Kai Harrison, Martin Colber, Ashley Rose, John Wilkerson, J.D. Mann, Mary Mann, Mark Zellman, David Rabins, Sarah Vered Bat Shoshana, and Robin Channon, and Paul Cox, as well as all who suffer whom we know not by name. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Ve'imotenu, Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yivarech V'Rapeh et Kol Cholei Yisrael, Vayishlach Lahem Bimheira, Refuat Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, and Nomar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are stricken. May the Holy One of Praise mercifully restore them to health and to vigor. May God grant them health of body, health of spirit, and of mind. And let us say, Amen.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Imotenu Mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now ask everyone to please rise if they are able to do so as we return our Torah to the Ark through the singing of Eitz Chaim Hi.
Eitz Chaim Hi lemachazikim bav'tomhecha, me'ushar Eitz Chaim Hi lemachazikim bav'tomhecha, me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom. Eitz Chaim Hi lemachazikim bav'tomhecha, me'ushar Eitz Chaim Hi lemachazikim bav'tomhecha, me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to invite Susan Push to continue with our prayer for Israel.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
And we continue with our prayer for America, and we will be led by Mike Sawyer.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing with those who are in need. Help us to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways we serve you. Bless our country, that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Amen.
Amen. And our prayer for essential workers will be led this evening by Barbara Turner.
Sorry, let me. O Holy One, we come to you as did our ancestors. During times of crisis and fear, we ask for your blessing upon your inhabitants, that they are welcome under the shelter of your protection and peace. Bless those who are suffering, all who are in pain. May they be blessed with wholeness and strength. Please send your blessing to the heroes of the moment, the doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers on the front lines of this pandemic, those whose holy work is to save as many lives as possible. Bless the work of their hands and hearts, protect them from illness and despair, exhaustion and overwhelm, and send your blessing to all of our essential workers who deliver food, stock the shelves, teach our youth, and otherwise put their lives on the line every day to bring us as much normalcy as possible. Bless those who strengthen our local communities and ultimately the world, as we are all intrinsically connected to one another. May we be blessed with your divine love, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. we continue with our sermon on Shoftim this evening.
So I remember one of the first big fights I got into with my parents when I was young. Now, I don't exactly remember what we were arguing about, but I do remember the catalyst which began the whole thing. Now, with 6 kids and a lot to do otherwise besides just raising the kids, I can understand that both my mother and father were pressed for time often. Now, this led to tasks and rules being, let's say, vigorously promulgated at us, the kids, screamed at. A lot of these were to keep us safe, me especially, as I would describe myself as a boy with the 2 dissonant adjectives of daredevil and klutz. So my parents would often say things like, I know your lemonade stand might stop traffic better if it were in the middle of the road, but that is a little more dangerous. Or, yes, it would be faster to jump down the entire set of stairs, but speed is not my concern with that. And even, you can't cross the lake in a thunderstorm on your canoe to go to your friend Thomas's house. Now, that last one I actually did do, but never told my parents, and luckily was not struck by lightning. But in any event, to the kids, my siblings and I were, whenever we were told to do something, we would always ask why. Now, the response, of course, was always, because I said so. And this leads me back to the fight I had with my parents, where it happened, I believe, because this was the first time after their authoritative response of they said so, I asked, well, what does that matter? Now, as I learned in a freshman writing class, a good argument makes an appeal to 3 things: to logic, to ethics, and to authority. Although this was a Greek concept, we can actually see this idea working in some of the commandments in our Torah. But a good example of this would be, love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am Adonai, your God. This is a commandment we get a few times. And the first part of this commandment is an appeal to logic. We can understand that loving the stranger is good for us and everyone because that stranger is bringing in a new perspective, which can improve our lives. Successful things have diverse sets of ideas in common. The second part of the commandment, that we were strangers in the land of Egypt, is an appeal to our ethics. We know the commandment to be morally good because of our past experiences, and we can empathize with that stranger. And the last part of the commandment, I am Adonai your God, is an appeal to that authority. Why should we follow this commandment? Because God said so. In just this one mitzvah, we see all 3 elements of that rhetorical triangle. Now, at this point in our Torah, the Israelites are about to lose a central authority. Moses knows that he can't enter into the land of Israel, and him as a leader will soon be gone. The installment of judges at the beginning of this portion is setting up another authority. However, these judges have a task, and that is the pursuit of justice, or as we heard, tzedek tzedek tirdof. This is very different than if Moses said, I wrote everything down, so that's what you do, Israelites, because I said so. Everything was written down as a guide, but interpretation, that pursuit of justice, that interpretation of the law to whatever circumstances are on the horizon, is actually that justice which is pursued. Moses, by putting judges in place, is asking a question. For it to be a good law, and we had to take away one of those 3 elements of the rhetorical triangle, which one would we take away? Authority, at least in this case, is the one taken away for a couple of reasons. There will never be interpretation, exploration, and modification if authority is still there. So one could change anything unless there was a decrease in that Moses authority. No one could change anything unless there was a decrease in that Moses authority. But now authority is important with the application and enforcement, but in the modification of even the construction of the law, to be logical and ethical, there needs to be communication from everyone's experience, which means there is no central authority. In other words, in order to create laws which are smart and moral, the people need to be listened to. This is one of the reasons there is such an interesting juxtaposition in this portion, Shoftim, with both the election of judges to interpret and apply the law and the authority which is vested in the judges over the people. Moses is trying to get the balance correct when it comes to the need for change in law and giving that same set of law the proper authority to actually be followed. This is something today which can be done, which has been done better or worse, but still is never perfect. Moses knows one of the best ways of doing it, which we still try and do today, where we trust the people who create the rules because of their skills in either ethic, logic, or in either logic or empathy, hopefully both. The authoritative person is there because they can listen to the whole community and analyze the law and even interpret its meaning. So the moral and ethical ideal is followed. Now, in that story with the fight with my parents, it was easy to see what was happening. This was the first time I was directly challenging their authority. I didn't care about the argument of I said so anymore. I needed to hear the logical and ethical reasons behind a decision. As I soon learned, it was because it's stupid to take a canoe out in a thunderstorm because I could be struck by lightning. But sometimes the explanation is very easy. However, when it comes to the law deoraita, the law coming from the Torah, we must all be the judges and always asking, even though Moses wrote it down, is this the right thing to do? And only then can we pursue justice. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach, Rabbi Camel. We continue with our anthem. We don't always have an anthem, but tonight I said to our wonderful song leader, Leah, we want an anthem because we want to hear you sing, Leah. So we're going to have an anthem. And we don't even need to share the screen. We're just going to watch Leah sing. No pressure, of course. Hine Matov.
Hine Matov. Umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov. Umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. This is the part where you would repeat if we were together. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Thank you, Leah. And we continue with our president of the board of directors giving
That's
Shabbat.
me.
That is you, Mr. Sawyer.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming for the Shabbat services tonight. I'm Mike Sawyer, as mentioned, and I'm representing the board of directors tonight. I want to thank our rabbis for leading the service, as well as Leah Sharon for the music this evening. It's been very lovely, Leah. This week, we have a few of our regular programs and a couple of special ones. Torah study tomorrow is at, everybody knows, right? 9:30 with Rabbi Koznowski.
No, it's 9 o'clock. Sorry. I have a bar mitzvah in the morning and I don't want to be late, so we moved it to 9. Tell all your
Correction made on the meeting notes here. Torah study is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with Rabbi Koznowski. The discussion for white fragility is happening on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And our Talmud on tap is at 7 p.m. on Monday evening. All the Zoom information can be found in your email. Please join us virtually starting again on Sunday, August 23rd at 10:30 a.m. for a program from Rabbi Bill Tepper, which is sponsored by the Inclusion Committee. This program will cover the experiences of the deaf and disabled in the Holocaust. Next week is our drive-in movie night, which will be occurring on Wednesday, August 26th at 7:30 p.m. And they did not give me the title of the movie, so Rabbi, I'll give you that at the end, maybe. And backed by popular demand, we will be having another food truck night on Thursday, September 3rd from 5 to 7 p.m. Look for the email to RSVP. You won't want to miss this one. Further information upcoming regarding an event called Slikot Palooza, a fest to kick off the high holidays. Watch your email, stay tuned. And thank you all so much for attending tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We come now to our concluding prayers. We come now to the Aleinu, as I invite everyone to please rise, neither body or spirit.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegur aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu L'takein Olam b'malchut Shaddai V'nemar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Everyone may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us. Tonight, as a community, we remember and honor the Yortzites of Fanny Geller, mother of Cecile Wolochuk and grandmother of Cheryl Bogola, Elaine Kohlberg, grandmother of Heather Levine, Sol Retsky, grandmother of Joanne Gallagher, Irene Carline, cousin of Judith Stein, Rosemary Snyder, mother of Jennifer Snyder, Helen Sikora, mother of James Sikora, Norman Yellen, husband of Wendy Yellen, father of Matthew and Joshua Yellen, Al Gorlin, grandfather of Beth Spenadel, Natalie Kay, cousin of Jordy Trofimo, Inez Turoff, grandmother of Joseph Turoff, Beatrice Weinstein, aunt of Craig Mandel, Harry Rosen, uncle of Judith Stein, Marilyn Cohen, mother of Barbara Fidlow, Aaron Pelsner, father of Helene Frankfeder, Esther Frankfeder, mother of Alan Frankfeder, Muriel Richmond, mother of Linda Richmond, Celia Goldman, grandmother of Julie Mandrew, Bertha Gutenstein, friend of Eitz Chaim, Karen Honig, mother of Rob Honig, Marjorie McGrath, mother of Margaret McGrath, Jan Sawyer, mother of Mike Sawyer, and Meyer Zunder, uncle of Stephen Kath. We also mourn the recent passing of Shirley Bob, mother of Rabbi Stephen Bob. We continue now as one community as we all rise in either body or spirit for the mourner's Kaddish. Would everyone please rise? Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, ve'omad yivrach yotev yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam umei amaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudashah b'rechu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'oma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing. Our closing song this evening is Ya'aloz Sadai.
Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai, v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 az yiradenu Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'alo Sadai. V'chol asher bo Ya'alo Sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Az Yiranenu kol atei Ya'ar. 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 Ya'alo Sadai. V'chol asher bo Ya'alo Sadai. Ay, 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 ay.
Let us go out to the Shabbat, to joy, to rest, and to peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Say Shabbat.